In a town shaped by the subtle machinations and political intrigue of its guilds, it's reassuring to see a goblin waving his torch and screaming about some nonsense or other.
This video is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc. If you're looking for cards in the US, look no further, as you can use the promo code MTGMudsta to get you 5% off anything on the site. Or if you're in Canada like me, you can use the same promo code at Multizone to get 10% off your orders of singles. If cards aren't what you're looking for, Original Magic Art has playmats, tokens, and sweet art that you can use that same promo code to help you get 5% off your order there. If you're looking to bling out your cards, using Alter Sleeves is a great way to do so, and you can click the affiliate link in my About section to help out the channel as you make an order. And if you just want to help out the channel, you can always consider becoming a patron for as little as $1 a month and join the generic Goblin Gang. This video is also brought to you by the Kickstarter for Cube-A-Majigs Series 2. Cube-A-Majigs are reusable booster packs for Magic the Gathering, Cube, and trading card games. Series 2 upgrades to the previous line, including cleaner seams that prevent packs from bulging, they're pre-made, and they have 30 pieces of gorgeous custom art, made by some of our favorite Magic artists. Be sure to check out the link below for more information. Hey gang, and welcome back. Today's game has Trevor playing Golos, and if you have a problem with that, you can just pretend it's Child of Alara. He keeps a Bloodstained Mire, Kadama's Reach, Swiftfoot Boots, Prismatic Omen, Scapeshift, and Scattered Grove. Ryan is playing Hapatra, keeping a Ghost Quarter, Llanowar Wastes, Hissing Quagmire, Polluted Mire, Cyst Bearer, and Quillspike. Mike is playing Evra, keeping 4 Plains, Endless Atlas, Felwar Stone, and Tectonic Edge. Harry is playing Mairsil, keeping Frantic Search, Blood Crypt, Snow-Covered Island, Thought Scour, Rakdos Signet, Aetherling, and Fabled Passage. Ryan wins the die roll and starts us off. His first turn has a tapped Hissing Quagmire come in, and he passes to Trevor. Trevor plays a tapped Scattered Groves and passes. Mike plays a Plains. Harry plays a Snow-Covered Island. Ryan plays a Swamp and is able to cast his commander, Hapatra, Vizier of Poisons. Trevor plays a Bloodstained Mire, and unfortunately due to scintillating conversation, grabs a Breeding Pool instead of an appropriate Shockland and takes 2 as it comes in untapped. He casts Swiftfoot Boots and passes. Mike plays another Plains and casts Felwar Stone. At the end of turn, Harry casts Thought Scour, milling 2 and drawing a card. Harry draws and then shocks in a Blood Crypt and casts a Rakdos Signet. Ryan plays a Ghost Quarter and casts Kadama's Reach, going to find a forest and a swamp. He puts 1 to field and 1 to hand. He swings at Harry with Hapatra, and upon connecting, puts a -1/-1 counter onto her and makes a Snake token, passing. Trevor plays and cracks an Arid Mesa, and shocks in a Steam Vents. He then casts a Kadama's Reach, which lets him go and find 2 basics, 1 to the field and 1 to his hand. Mike plays another Plains, and casts Endless Atlas, passing to Harry. Harry plays a Snow-Covered Mountain, and passes to Ryan, keeping mana open. Ryan plays a land and casts a Cyst Bearer, putting some effect onto the table. He moves to combat, swinging Hapatra and the snake at Trevor, dealing 2. He puts a counter onto the snake, which kills it, and makes another snake. Trevor plays a land and casts his commander, Golos, Tireless Pilgrim. The Super Solemn goes and finds him Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth, and he passes to Mike. Mike uses the Atlas at the end of turn and draws a card. Mike untaps and plays a Plains and passes to Harry. Harry casts a main phase Frantic Search, drawing 2, discarding 2, and untapping 3 lands. He plays and cracks a Fabled Passage to go find a Snow-Covered Island, and then brings out Mairsil the Pretender. With Mairsil entering, Harry puts Aetherling into a cage, oh my, and gains stabilities. Ryan plays a Swamp and moves to combat, swinging the Cyst Bearer and Hapatra at Mike, and the Snake token at Harry. Mike takes the hit, gaining 2 Infect, and Harry takes the 1 from the Snake. Ryan puts a -1/-1 counter onto Mairsil, and makes another Snake token. He then casts a Talisman of Resilience, and follows up with the Phyrexian Hydra, passing to Trevor. Trevor taps a Plains and a Swamp, floating 2 mana, and plays a Lotus Field, which comes in and has him sacrificing 2 tapped lands. He then casts Yarok the Desecrated and equips it with the Swiftfoot Boots. Not wanting to upset anyone, he just passes to Mike. At the end of turn, Mike flashes in an Aven Mind Sensor and still has the mana to activate the Atlas, drawing another card. Mike taps out in his main phase and casts the Immortal Sun, getting his white card draw on, and follows up with a Relic of Progenitus for free. As Mike's about to end his second main phase, Harry uses the Flicker ability from Aetherlane on his commander to blink it and have it return to the battlefield at the end of Mike's turn, and Harry exiles Shaku Endbringer, putting it into the cage as well. Harry untaps and draws, playing a Temple of Epiphany and scrying 1, bottoming it. Harry then activates Mairsil using Shaku's ability to exile the Phyrexian Hydra, and then activates the Aetherlane's Flicker ability, and then has his commander come back at the end of turn, and this time cages a Galecaster Colossus. Ryan untaps and plays a land in his main phase. Moving to combat, he swings 2 snakes at Harry and the Sisbearer at Mike. They both take the hits, with Mike going up to 4 poison. Ryan then casts a Phyrexian Juggernaut and passes turn. Trevor activates Golos in his main phase and flips Kenyon Slough, Demonic Tutor, and Seasons Past. He casts the Demonic Tutor and gets to choose a card from the top 4 thanks to the Aven Mind Sensor. He then shuffles his library and casts Seasons Past, getting back Demonic Tutor, Kodama's Reach, and a Bloodstained Mire. He plays the Kenyon Slough as his land for turn and swings Yarok at Mike. Trevor then passes and discards down to hand size. Mike draws 2 thanks to his Mortal Sun and plays a Tectonic Edge as his land for turn. He then casts Slaughter the Strong, and each player chooses creatures they control with total power 4 or less and destroy the rest. Mike then casts a Rescos Explorer, which finds him a Plains to hand, and then casts a Sure Strike Trident. Mike then passes, and at the end of Mike's second main phase, Harry uses Aetherlane's ability once more to flicker Mairsil, and this time exiles a Mirrormad Phantasm as they re-enter. Harry untaps and draws, playing a Great Furnace. He uses the Galecaster to bounce the Immortal Sun, and then flickers Mairsil again, which, as it comes back, exiles a Pack Rat and passes turn. Ryan draws, but isn't happy with it, and cycles Desert of the Indomitable, drawing another card. He casts a Planar Void and moves to combat. He continues to swing the Sisbearer at Mike, and Hapatra goes at Trevor, and the Snake goes at Harry. Mike blocks the Infect with the Rescos Explorer, and the other 2 take their damage. Ryan gets to put a -1/-1 counter onto Mairsil, and makes another Snake token, passing. Trevor plays Lord Windgrace in his main phase, and then downticks the Planeswalker to return 2 lands from his graveyard to the field. He follows up by casting Mirage Mirror, and then plays a Bloodstained Mire and passes to Mike. At the end of turn, Mike activates the Relic, having Trevor exile a card from his graveyard, and then activates the Atlas to draw a card. Mike untaps and draws. He plays Inventor's Fair and moves to combat, swinging the Mind Sensor at Lord Windgrace. In response, Trevor uses the Mirror to make a copy of the Mind Sensor, and the 2 birds trade as they get exiled with a Planar Void. Mike then casts a Hallowed Burial, which Harry responds to by tapping Mairsil to bounce the Relic of Progenitus to Mike's hand, and then flickers Mairsil with the Aetherlane's ability. The spell resolves, and the creatures get bottomed, and Mike recasts the Relic of Progenitus and passes. This has Mairsil re-entering the battlefield at the end of turn, and exiles Mirage Mirror, and with his commander re-entering untapped, Harry then taps it again since it's a new instance, and bounces the Planar Void to Ryan's hand. Harry's turn is quite short, as he casts Painful Truths using red, black, and blue to draw 3 and lose 3. He then casts a Talisman of Dominance and passes to Ryan. Ryan plays a land in his main phase and recasts the Planar Void. He then brings back out Hapatra and passes to Trevor. Trevor draws and casts Prismatic Omen in his main phase, and then casts Crop Rotation, sacrificing a Plains. He goes to find Valakut, which enters the battlefield as a mountain, and deals 3 damage to Harry. Trevor then next casts Scapeshift, to which Harry bounces the Prismatic Omen in response. Trevor sacrifices 6 lands, and finds Vesuva and 5 more mountain. Vesuva enters as a copy of Valakut, and Trevor assigns all of the damage to Harry, dealing a full 30 to him. With the remaining mana he still has, Trevor casts Demonic Tutor and puts a card to his hand, but shortcuts at the same time, casting Enlightened Tutor to put it on top after he's done shuffling. He then upticks Lord Windgrace to discard Crucible of Worlds and draws the top card. The card he finds and draws from Lord Windgrace is a Door to Nothingness, and he passes to Mike. Mike untaps and activates Tectonic Edge to take out the original copy of Valakut, and then plays a Howling Mine and a Smothering Tithe. He passes, and at the end of turn, Ryan activates Ghost Quarter to take out the Vesuva copy of Valakut as well, and also sacrifices his Nurturing Peatland to draw a card. Ryan untaps and draws 2 thanks to the Howling Mine. He counts out his mana to see if he can afford to pay the tax, and pays 2 for one of the draws, with Mike getting a treasure. He then plays a land and moves to combat. He swings Hapatra at Trevor, who takes the 2, and this lets Ryan put a -1/-1 counter onto Hapatra, making a snake. He follows up with a Quill Spike and passes. Trevor untaps and draws 2, but doesn't pay the tax for either of the 2, with Mike gaining 2 treasures. He taps 3 for Chromatic Lantern, and then plays Obnixilis the Fallen. He plays a Watery Grave, having it come in untapped, and takes 2, and this triggers Obnixilis, which has Mike losing 3, and Trevor putting 3 +1/+1 counters onto the demon. He moves to equip the Swiftfoot Boots onto the demon, and Mike responds with Path to Exile. Trevor goes to find a forest off the path, and then downtakes Lord Windgrace, returning Arid Mesa to the field. With nothing else, and severely hindered by the graveyard hate, he passes to Mike. Mike untaps, and gains a life from the Inventor's Fair, and draws 2. He casts his commander for the first time, Evra, Halcyon Witness. He equips a Sure Strike Trident to Evra, to which Ryan putrefies the equipment, and Mike then passes. Ryan plays a land, and casts Ambition's Cost, drawing 3 and losing 3, and not paying for any of the Smothering Tithe triggers. He then casts a Phyrexian Vat Mother, and moves to combat. He swings Hapatra and the Quill Spike at Trevor, removing the counter from Hapatra with Quill Spike, and hitting him for 6. Ryan then places the -1/-1 counter onto Evra, and makes another Snake token, passing. Trevor untaps and recasts Golos. He goes to find a Field of the Dead, making him a zombie token as it comes in, and then plays a land, making another zombie. He casts Skyshroud Claim to go and find 2 forests, and makes 2 more zombie tokens, and passes to Mike. At the end of turn, Mike uses the Atlas to draw a card. Mike gains his 1 in his upkeep, and draws 2 from the Howling Mines. Mike plays a land, and draws another card off the Atlas. He then casts Crush Counterband to get rid of the Planar Void and Golos, and then casts a Children of Corliss. He casts Brave the Elements, naming black, and swings at Trevor. Unable to block, Mike is then free to swap his life total with his commander's power, and takes Trevor out in 1 hit, and then Mike gains back the life difference thanks to lifelink. With nothing else, Mike passes to Ryan. Ryan untaps and draws his 2. With the Smothering Tithe triggers on the stack, he casts Hero's Downfall to take out the Children of Corliss, and then doesn't pay for the Tithe triggers. Ryan then casts Skitherix, and makes him go real fast, and swings at Mike with enough Infect to take him out. Game review time. So this was a pretty sweet one, and I really enjoyed watching it and narrating it and scripting it. I think everyone got to show off what their deck can do, and although I enjoyed Harry's Mairsil deck, I do find that you often have to tutor for the same cards early on, which makes the deck a bit too linear for me. Trevor's Child of Alara/Golos deck, depending on how you feel about the commander, got to kill someone with one of my favorite win cons, which is Valakut. I love that he's brought the modern combo into a commander deck, and I really can't help but smile whenever I see someone getting blasted to death by a bunch of mountains coming in. Mike finally got something off of my bucket list, which was to kill someone with Evra, and I've been waiting for someone to do this, where they swap their life total for the power, and then smash in, and my goodness did it live up to the hype I had around it. It's actually a shame. I think he had a pretty good shot at winning the game, had Ryan not drawn Skitherix. I'm sure some people are going to be disappointed that Ryan won through Infect, but he telegraphed it early on, and there were several points that Mike didn't have to take the damage and could have just blocked instead. Plus he won with a gotta go fast dragon, so you can't be mad at him for that long. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, Cool Stuff Inc., Multizone, Original Magic Art, and Alter Sleeves. But it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers, and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.